Dear families of Cameroon, I wish to leave you this message. Learn to build your family life on love. Do not give them to forces which weaken and destroy the unity, stability, and happiness of your family. In this video, we're going to talk about Saint Pope John Paul II. Who was Pope John Paul II to Africans? Successor of Pope John Paul I. Pope John Paul I, the Pope who reigned for a very short time, about a month and 3 days in the Roman Catholic papal history. Pope John Paul I died just 33 days after he was made Pope, on the 26th of August, 1978, after which a cardinal priest born in Wadowice, Poland, May 18, 1920, with the names of Karol Józef Wojtyła. He was elected the successor of Pope John Paul I in the same year, on October 16, 1978, making him the 264th and the first ever non-Italian Pope in the history of Rome. When Pope John Paul II assumed the mantle of the Roman Catholic papacy, he followed the footsteps of Yeshua HaMashiach, and with that, in honor of Yeshua's mother, Maria, as he continued with the pastoral work of his predecessors from the time of Saint Peter, who was referred to as the rock or stone by Yeshua HaMashiach himself. The term shepherd represents a concept of Roman Catholic Christian, and the Pope represents the leadership, that is, the one who guides and rules with compassion, protection, and guidance. Pope John Paul II had always defended the family in many ways, and one of them was this conviction that children are formed in a woman's womb, which is a natural process of a woman giving birth through a spiritual and natural process. This is explained in Roman Catholic doctrine in the Annunciation by Archangel Gabriel, who appeared to Miriam and told her the good tidings that she will conceive and give birth to a boy child, and the child should be called Yeshua, or Jesus. He also believed that family was the foundation of all societies and civilizations, and that families should share the love of Christ to one another. The Pope is responsible to elevate the Church, to bring people closer to the divine family, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. That being said, Pope John Paul II accepted the call to be a shepherd as he began his responsibilities throughout his papacy. He visited almost all the parishes in Rome and visited other countries around the world and in other continents, some including the Dominican Republic, Mexico, Poland, Ireland, United States, and Turkey, a year after his appointment, that is, in 1979. John Paul II is also known as the Traveler Pope, the Pope who visited 129 countries during his 104 travels outside of Rome. John Paul II was the only Pope who visited almost all the parishes under him during his papacy. That is 317 parishes out of 333 in Rome. He also visited Africa 16 times for pastoral work and for African Bishop Synod. In Africa, we know him as the African Pope because during his papacy, Out of 43 African nations he visited, he was the first to also visit 38 countries south of the Sahara. We see him as an environmentalist. During his visit on May 10, 1980, in the Sahel regions, where he was said to have been touched by the tragedy of the population affected by drought and desertification, Pope John Paul II set up a foundation by February 22nd, 1984, where he officially launched a program to fight against desertification in the Sahel region, Ouagadougou. The headquarters of his foundation is in the Vatican City. He visited Southern Africa from the 10th through the 19th of September 1988 to Zimbabwe, Botswana, Lesotho, Swaziland, presently Eswatini, Mozambique. John Paul II, the Pope who boldly condemned the formal apartheid in South Africa. As he said, apartheid represented a racist vision to human inequality and cannot be continued. Quote from the Southern Cross magazine for South Africa. The Pope was the one who stood strongly for the support and protection of families of mankind, womankind, and their offsprings, in which he had demonstrated throughout his lifetime, as he always illustrated this through the Holy Family of Yeshua, Miriam, and Joseph in Roman Catholicism, and in many other ways to other non-Catholic around the world, and to the Cameroons, West Central Africa. His messages to families and the entire Catholic Christians in Africa, and specifically to Cameroon when he visited, he left us with touching messages. Pope John Paul II visits Cameroon, 12th August 1985, homily. Some quotes or excerpts from Pope John Paul II's visits to Cameroon and some parts of Africa. Do not listen to ideologies which allow society or state to take over the rights and responsibilities which belong to families. Do not follow the path of selfish consumerism, which have produced so much suffering in other parts of the world and which you too are now beginning to experience. Traditionally, the extended family played an important part in strengthening family life and in deciding the way family questions are faced and resolved. Where a changing economy and social conditions tend to weaken the constructive role of extended family, the whole Christian community are impelled to offer concrete support to families in need. The family is a special community of persons. In the family, parents are bound to each other by marriage covenants. Children are God's special gifts to parents, to society, and to the nation. The joy that you experience with your children is like the joy Jesus felt when he called them to be near him. Luke 18:16. To the children and young people of Cameroon, I would like to say that Jesus calls you to love your families, strengthen them with your joy and trust and obedience. It is up to you to help make your families centers of love, peace, and holiness. Dear families of Cameroon, I wish to leave you this message. Learn to build your family life on love. Do not give them to forces which weaken and destroy the unity, stability, and happiness of your family. Others. Our age needs wisdom. The whole church is obliged to a deep reflection and commitment so that the new culture now emerging may be evangelized in depth. True values and knowledge, the rights of men and women defended, and justice promoted in the very structures of society. It is a way new humanism will not distract people from their relationship with God, but will lead them to it more fully. Science and its technical applications offer new and immense possibilities in the construction in such humanism. Still, as a consequence of political choices that decided the direction of research and applications, science is always used against original purpose, which is the advancement of the human person. Pope John Paul II then continued his apostolic work to Togo, Ivory Coast, Central African Republic, Zaire, Kenya, and Morocco.